The sun was blazing over the crowded street market when Aveline Moran, a 24-year-old woman with tired eyes and trembling hands, stood in front of a pawn stall holding the only thing she had left in the world, a small silver locket shaped like a crescent moon. It was old, scratched at the edges, and no longer shiny, but to her it was priceless. It had been her mother's last gift before passing away. Yet hunger is a thief that steals everything, even memories drenched in love. With her stomach aching and her little brother waiting in an abandoned shed where they had been secretly surviving, she whispered a silent apology to her mother and placed the locket on the counter. The vendor barely looked at it before tossing a few crumpled notes toward her, and as Aveline walked away, tears blurred the edges of the world, making the daylight feel like a cruel spotlight exposing her despair. If you believe kindness and second chances still matter in this world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Good Soul. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. She held the small money tightly as she rushed across the sunny alleyways, trying to avoid the judgmental eyes of strangers. Every step felt heavier because it wasn't the hunger that hurt the most, she was used to that, it was the feeling of losing something that connected her to the only person who had loved her unconditionally. Aveline bought bread, 2 bottles of water, and a few fruits, counting every coin with painful calculation. As she headed toward the shed where her 9-year-old brother Yura was waiting, she didn't realize that someone had been watching her, the sharp gaze of a man sitting inside a sleek black car parked near the market. That man was Cale Donovan, one of the youngest billionaires in real estate, known for his cold decisions and strict manner that intimidated the business world. He had come to the marketplace to inspect a new land site, but instead his attention was drawn to the fragile girl with the defeated posture. Something about the way she held the locket before giving it away, the hesitation, the heartbreak, stirred something deep inside him. He had seen people sell things before, expensive things, cheap things, but never had he seen anyone treat an object like a piece of their soul was being exchanged. And when he noticed her buying food with the urgency of someone fighting time, he felt an unfamiliar pull in his chest. Aveline reached the shed and saw Yura sitting cross-legged near the wall, staring at the sunlight streaming through a broken plank. His face lit up when he saw the food, and Aveline felt a tiny spark of relief. They ate quietly, quickly, like 2 birds snatching crumbs before danger returned. She promised him things would get better, but even she knew promises were sometimes just softer ways of lying to the people you love. Later that afternoon, as daylight traced golden stripes outside, Cale Donovan approached the shed with slow, deliberate steps. He wasn't sure what he was going to say, he only knew he couldn't walk away. When Aveline turned and saw a tall stranger in an expensive suit standing near the doorway, her heart pounded with fear. She instinctively pulled Yura behind her, shielding him even though she had nothing else to offer. Cale raised his hands gently, and though he used no dialogue, his actions were slow and careful, his expression soft enough to show he meant no harm. He placed the crescent moon locket in her palm. Aveline froze. She felt as though the ground beneath her had vanished. How had he found it? Why would he bring it back? Her chest tightened as her fingers closed around it like a wounded bird returning home. She felt her throat burn with emotion, and Cale simply nodded, his eyes reflecting understanding rather than pity. In that moment, something shifted in Aveline's world. The sun outside suddenly felt warm instead of cruel, and the shed felt less like a prison and more like a place where hope could knock on the door unexpectedly. Cale walked away without taking credit, without asking questions. But he couldn't shake the image of her eyes, filled with both strength and brokenness. The next day, he returned again, not with pity but with purpose. He brought food, medical supplies, and a quiet assurance through his body language that he wasn't there to force anything on them. Over the next weeks, daylight became their friend again. Cale helped them find a small home, enrolled Yura in school, and arranged a job for Aveline in one of his company's creative departments because he had discovered she had an extraordinary talent for designing sketches and layouts on old papers she kept hidden. Success didn't come overnight, but stability did. The kind of stability that gives the heart a chance to breathe again, that gives dreams room to stretch. Aveline slowly transformed from a girl surviving day by day to a young woman shining with quiet confidence. And though Cale never demanded gratitude, Aveline's heart held it like a second heartbeat. Not because he rescued them, but because he saw her, not as a burden, not as a beggar, but as someone worth noticing, someone worth believing in. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Good Soul. Your support helps us keep spreading kindness and hope. Special request, before you leave, comment something positive for someone who might need it today. And so, under the warm light of a new day, Aveline held the silver crescent moon close to her chest, not because she needed it to remember the past, but because it reminded her that sometimes, in the brightness of day, miracles really do walk quietly toward us.